Thank you very much, Maureen. Now we are going to go into the detail in terms of the recommendations and resolutions. And what we have done is for each heading, we've provided some recommendations. Now the first, how can electricity delivery to Lagos be accelerated? The Lagos State should focus keenly on aspects of the power value chain within its jurisdiction. For example, local distribution networks, the transformers. Secondly, partnering with the DISCOs to promote embedded generation, which includes emergency power and regular power. Embedded power generation is a ring-fence approach to achieving power production quickly. The third, Lagos State government should, through its partnership with the DISCOs, seek to reduce losses and any other measures necessary to ensure effective and efficient distribution of available power. Number 4, Lagos State government should facilitate the operation of the DISCOs by ensuring that things like land, right-of-way, permits, etc. are made easily accessible to the DISCOs. Number 5, sharing its development plans with the DISCOs in advance to influence planning by the DISCOs. In essence, while the private sector are doing their projects, I believe that in the course of planning their own projects, they should align those projects, particularly looking at the power needs of new projects, with the power needs of new government projects itself. LESG, as a local regulator of sorts, without interfering with the mandate of NERC, should serve as an arbiter between the DISCOs and the consumers in Lagos State. Lagos State should, through its partnership with the DISCOs, seek to reduce losses and any other measures necessary. I think we've mentioned that before. Lagos State government should also continue to engage with the federal government towards speeding up completion of connectivity infrastructure, liberalization of the gas market to bring prices to export parity, which will ensure sufficient liquidity in the gas sector to support all solutions, as well as movement towards more cost-reflective tariffs to engender investment required in the power sector. These are the issues that will help us to accelerate. Now we go to the next set. How do we deliver adequate gas to power? The first being the acceleration, the second now the adequacy. Lagos State should seek to obtain direct equity stakes in gas acreages in offshore Lagos to gain more control of the gas molecules for redirection into the Lagos market. The Lagos State government can provide a framework that guarantees gas uptake from gas fields in offshore Lagos in order to make those investments bankable and expedite their progress. For example, the IG fields, which delivers 450 meters per CDF in 2 to 3 years. Apologies, please. Now, second, Lagos State should join the advocacy for alternative technologies for gas delivery into the Lagos. For example, the use of floating storage and regasification units to regasify LNG for the use by domestic plants. Also, investments in mini LNG plants, use of CNG and synthetic fuels to meet domestic gas demand and gas plants mounted on barges along the coast of Lagos. With regard to managing transition issues from the public to the private sector, controlled power industry, Lagos State should communicate to NERC and other relevant agencies the need to ensure that the transition from public to private sector controlled industry is well managed by addressing the issues such as the need for firm but fair regulation, including disciplinary measures, such as licensing revocation, where applicable, and of course, co-ownership with labor of privatized assets will be a beneficial incentive to labor and will boost its beneficial cooperation. Worker retaining and acculturation to new standards should be facilitated by employers. Workers retaining is a critical element of the change management process. Lagos State government should actively engage in the political lobby for the speedy completion of key projects such as the Escravos to Lagos pipeline system. 2. In terms of harnessing electricity to grow the agric, the transport, and housing sectors, we think that Lagos State, or we resolve that Lagos State should take advantage of the liberalized power industry to promote growth in these three sectors by doing the following. For agriculture, there needs to be further collaboration with players along the value chain and assistance to farmers in the acquired relevant skills. Implementation of local food content bill to encourage hotels and retail stores to patronize locally produced food items. Development of captive power projects for the agri-farm settlements and estates. We need to institutionalize the current efforts of the government at powering agricultural areas, grant electricity subsidies to encourage agricultural entrepreneurs. On transport, we need to electrify the transportation system. By electrifying the transportation system, this will reduce the dependence on petroleum products, reduce the same on gas, and some of these noted effects, enabling the use of intelligent transport system and provide more employment for use. I believe what the railway line is doing is tending towards this direction. This is just an urge to accelerate things towards that direction. In terms of housing, high/medium rise buildings should be used for high density areas to encourage efficient utilizations of resources, particularly space. Buildings should be designed for proper circulation and lighting to reduce energy requirements. Sustainable industry buildings processes such as prefabrication and assembly should be employed in building projects, especially when energy becomes available. How do we harness electricity to transform social infrastructure? And by social infrastructure, we're now talking more about health, education, and things that ordinarily we would not necessarily seek out to profit from. Say Lagos State should explore, and where found suitable, collaborate with the private sector partners to create what we call smart cities. This involves collation, combination, aggregation, analysis, and interpretation of relevant demographic information. The smart city concept will provide us with adequate data on electricity usage pattern. This, in turn, can be used to determine peak and off-peak periods. We should advocate and encourage ongoing grid upgrade and aggressive upgrade of distribution facilities. Invest in distribution equipment as well. We should pursue a waste-to-power policy and a gas-to-power policy to drive projects in that direction as practical ways by which we can harness electricity to transform social infrastructure. We come to the end of the slide, but we have to emphasize that EHIINGBETI's preeminence as a rallying point of maritime, economic, financial, and commercial activities dates back to the 15th century. The Eco Marketplace, which also provided a forum to foster close collaboration between then the king and the merchant class, but now in our current days, provides a nexus between the public and the private sector in the planning and actualizing of the development objectives of Lagos as a global megacity. We intend to keep faith with this, and I believe the summary of this summit is a further commitment to this. And as we say, Boju bati EHIINGBETI, Oju le ti eko. For the benefit, thank you very much. For the benefit of those who might not be too privileged to understand the Yoruba language, it simply means that for as long as the flame of EHIINGBETI burns, the flame of Lagos's success will continue to burn. So I bid us a welcome into a good future. Thank you very much.
Shall we put our hands together one more time for the wonderful presentation by the pair of Mrs. Maureen Desalu and Mr. Additional Fagbenro Byron. Thank you both for a job well done. Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, our team leader is someone who, when you have done well, he rewards you by telling you the only reward for hard work is more work. Well, I think it is our turn to say to him that, sir, the time may be short, but you have seen the shopping list of resolutions. It's time for more work. Let's put our hands together as His Excellency, the Governor of Lagos State, Mr. Babatunde Raji Fashola, SAN, addresses us.